dear height, and welcome back. Today's fellow uncouth American is Daniel Boone. Born October 22nd in 1734, or November 2nd, depending on which calendar one uses, during this era. The Quaker Boone family moved to Yadkin River, North Carolina. Daniel had some formal schooling, but preferred to spend his time hunting, trapping, learning about the forest. Boone's own father once said, "Let the girls do the spelling and the boys do the shooting." Little did he know his own granddaughters would be badasses in their own right. Anywho, Daniel Boone grew up into a fine soldier in the French and Indian War, that's 1754 to 1763, the pre-Revolutionary War in America, when the French and British were at war over territory in the upper Ohio River Valley. With the British troops, led by Lieutenant Colonel George Washington. Yes, he even led British troops at one point. Daniel Boone's company ran the French out of Ohio territory by 1755. Boone met and married after that Rebecca Bryan the following year. They had 10 children during their marriage. By 1759, a huge Indian uprising overtook North Carolina. This is also known as the Anglo-Cherokee Wars. Then they headed southward against all the colonists. Even though the Cherokees were allies with the British during the French War, the long-term abuse and disrespect of the natives was still a problem betwixt the British colonists and the Indians. The Cherokee Nation at this time was made of 3 base tribes and made up of about 300,000 people. Boone moved his family into Virginia territory and joined the militia against the Cherokee uprising. I'm sorry, it's just such a fun, bold twist on saying they got mad, they knew what was coming, and they took action for their ever-dwindling land. Just saying. Anywho, Boone served for 1 year under Captain Hugh Waddell, sorry if I got that wrong, on the North Carolina frontier. After his military services, Boone took to doing what he did best, hunting, trapping, and exploring the wilderness of the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia. He led parties of fur traders in and out of the Smoky Mountains. You can find their names, initials, and messages carved on the trees in random spots along their routes even to this day, although there is one stump out in a museum somewhere of one of the carvings. Boone was gone so long one time, his wife Rebecca had a daughter with Daniel's brother. She thought he was dead, or at least that's what she said, and he forgave her and raised the little girl as his own. Not judging, I'm just being dramatic. Kidding. Well, at least someone kind of likes my drama. That or she's whining for me to stop. I love you. Oh, come here. Okay. Want to help me? But no one is sure if this is fully true or not. Let me know in the comments. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe while you're at it, you lazy bastards. Thank you. Hi, baby. The first lookout on Kentucky. Daniel Boone's trapping had run thin, and the exploring was getting limited with the burden of having a family. So one day he declares, "It was the first day of May in the year 1769 that I resigned my domestic happiness for a time and left my family to wander through the wilderness of America in a quest of my country of Kentucky." His wife didn't want to leave. She had her immediate family and the amenities of civilization, plus, her children. So she said no, and he said, "Bye-ya." Kidding again, being dramatic, so if you take offense, don't care. Daniel and his brother Squire Boone, yes, that brother, if the legends are true, they both set out for the richer hunting grounds of the Bluegrass Lands. Boone was soon captured by the Shawnee and their furs were taken away. They were in violation of the treaties that said no settlers could hunt nor claim any land past a certain point. Both Boones ignored this and took many other British colonists to continue the trek into Kentucky regions. Boone killed a man, among an unknown amount, to avoid capture again. He at least admitted to this one murder of a native. In 1773, Boone grabbed his family yet again and these fellow settlers to make a new town in the Kentucky Territory. He then helped lead wars against the Shawnee until they were pushed back even further, creating Boonesboro. By 1775, the Revolutionary War had broken out, and the natives took the opportunity to drive out the colonists and regain Kentucky and the West Virginian territories once more. Among all this native pushback, Boone had rescued his daughter and a couple of other girls from the Shawnee. Then he fought against the Shawnee chief Blackfish and his British allies, resulting in loss of crops, getting any outside help, and finding drinkable water. These conditions forced Boone and his men to hunt and find drinkable water, but in turn got captured themselves by Blackfish warriors in the process. Boone tricked the British and the natives to believe he would willingly surrender by springtime if they just let him get supplies to his people in the fort. Women and children's lives were at stake. Come on, help a brother out. He was tested with the gauntlet test. This is running through a couple lines of warriors as they kicked your ass. Boone survives this and becomes part of the tribe with some of his men. He basically traded his own men in order to keep them alive. Some natives would do this, willingly, in order to replace the people that they lost during battles. Boone played everyone up until he escaped in 1778, June 16th. His people questioned his loyalties. They even shamed and accused him of enjoying his time with the natives. The audacity if he did. But Boone led a party to attack the Shawnee, and then Chief Blackfish responded by setting siege to the fort later that year, about September. The men Boone had traded in order to save their lives earlier on came back to Boonesboro and brought with them charges against Boone. But because of his heroism amongst all the skeptical behavior, Boone was found not guilty and went down as a frontier hero. He was so great that Abraham Lincoln Sr. went with Boone's family, along with several slaves, to the New World and new frontiers, yet to be settled even further. Boone then became a part of General Assembly for Virginia, which is part of the House of Representatives and a legislative branch. Boone later lived on for 20 more years in Missouri, dying in his son's home September 26, 1820, at 86 years old. Oh my goodness, that's a solid life for someone back then. He was buried next to his wife Rebecca at Frankfort Cemetery, Kentucky, leaving behind his legendary trails, settlements, all meant for a new life and families in the new young country. And with this, I am done. Sometimes a story can seem glamorous, sometimes the details behind the stories aren't so grand, but if people in history didn't do the things they did, we wouldn't have today's lessons on how to go about the future and coexistence better, coexist for the better. Especially when it comes down to infusing cultures and races. So let us grab our vices, you know how this works. Slanche, to the legend of Daniel Boone, and to the start of Kentucky. Slan.